There are places on this planet that look like they were dreamed up by someone with an absolutely wild imagination. But they weren't. Places that look like sci-fi movie sets, digital art, or something photoshopped for the internet. Except they're completely real. And the craziest part is that some of them stayed hidden for centuries. Others seem to break the rules of nature, and a few are so surreal that even when people see photos, they still think they're fake. In today's video, you're going to see 5 unbelievable places that actually exist. And I'll warn you right now, as this list goes on, it gets harder and harder to believe all of this is part of the same planet we live on. Sometimes we get so used to our daily routines, the same streets, the same buildings, the same horizons, that we start to feel like the whole world is predictable. But the truth is the complete opposite. Earth still has places so strange, so beautiful, and so mysterious that they seem to exist outside of what we think of as normal. And maybe that's one of the most fascinating thoughts of all. While you're watching this video right now, there are landscapes scattered around the world that look like they don't belong to ordinary reality. There are deserts that shine like mirrors, lakes covered in color, caves lit up like stars are trapped in the ceiling, hidden worlds inside massive caverns, and stone forests that don't seem to follow any visual logic at all. Today, you're not just going to see beautiful places. You're going to discover stories, natural phenomena, and strange details that make each of these locations feel even more unbelievable. So get ready, because this video is basically a trip through some of the most unreal places nature has ever created. 1. Salar de Uyuni, the mirror of the sky. Imagine walking through a place where the ground seems to disappear. Not because it stops existing, but because it reflects the sky so perfectly that you completely lose track of what's above you and what's below you. That place is real, and it's called Salar de Uyuni in Bolivia. At first glance, it looks like a visual hallucination. A massive white desert, silent, endless, almost unreal. But when rainwater creates a thin layer over the salt, everything changes. The ground becomes the largest natural mirror on Earth. And that's when the magic happens. The clouds, the blue sky, the sunset, everything is duplicated with such unbelievable perfection that it feels like the world has turned into a painting. Standing in the middle of it can make you feel like you're floating between 2 dimensions. But what's even more interesting is that, as beautiful as this place is, it was created by an enormous natural process. Thousands of years ago, this region was covered by prehistoric lakes. Over time, the water evaporated, leaving behind a massive crust of salt. Today, this white sea is impressive not only because of its beauty, it also holds one of the largest lithium reserves in the world, a mineral that plays a key role in batteries and modern technology. So one of the most surreal landscapes on Earth may also help shape the future of humanity. There's something almost poetic about that. A place that looks like an ancient dream of nature may also influence the future of technology. 2. Sơn Đoòng Cave, a hidden world beneath the earth. Now imagine a cave so enormous that an entire building could fit inside it. Actually, not just a building. In some sections, entire city blocks could fit inside. Sơn Đoòng Cave in Vietnam is considered the largest cave in the world, and the most impressive thing about it is that it doesn't just feel like a cave. It feels like a secret world. When most people think of a cave, they imagine something dark, narrow, and damp. But Sơn Đoòng completely destroys that image. Inside, there are underground rivers, colossal rock formations, and even its own forest. Yes, a forest. In certain areas, parts of the cave ceiling naturally collapsed, allowing sunlight to pour in. That sunlight made it possible for vegetation to grow inside, creating an ecosystem that feels almost isolated from the outside world. It's as if nature built another planet right beneath our feet. And maybe the most unsettling part is realizing that this place remained unknown for a very long time. The cave was discovered by a local man, but for years it stayed almost forgotten until specialized exploration teams entered it. That says something powerful. Even in the modern world, with satellites, digital maps, and technology everywhere, there are still corners of Earth that can remain mysterious. Sơn Đoòng is living proof that the planet still knows how to keep secrets. And maybe that's one of the most fascinating things about it. It isn't just a massive place, it's a reminder that the unknown still exists. 3. Lake Hillier, the pink water that looks fake. If someone showed you a picture of a completely pink lake, your first reaction might be to assume it was edited. But it isn't. Lake Hillier in Australia really exists, and its color is so intensely pink that it looks like something from an animated movie. And here's one of the strangest parts. Unlike some natural phenomena that change appearance depending on the light, Lake Hillier keeps its pink color even when the water is removed. In other words, it's not just a visual trick caused by the landscape. The water itself really is pink. For a long time, that mystery fascinated scientists and explorers. Today, the color is believed to be connected to microorganisms, algae, and a high concentration of salt. Some of these organisms produce pigments that help create that strange and beautiful shade. But there's something even more fascinating about places like this. They remind us that nature doesn't follow our expectations of what beauty is supposed to look like. We grow up assuming lakes should be blue, green, or dark. The sky is blue. Mountains are gray or green, sand is tan, but reality never promised to follow that pattern. And when a pink lake appears in the middle of nature, our brains freeze for a second, because it breaks an invisible rule we didn't even realize we had created. Lake Hillier isn't just interesting because of its color. It's interesting because it challenges the way our minds think the world is supposed to look. Shilin Stone Forest. When Earth looks like an alien ruin. In China, there's a place that looks like a mix between a forest, the ruins of an ancient castle, and an alien landscape. It's called the Shilin Stone Forest. When you arrive there, the feeling is strange. Instead of trees, you see enormous limestone formations. Thin, sharp, vertical towers that look like the ground froze in the middle of a mineral explosion. Some of the stones look like towers. Others look like giant blades rising out of the earth. And when fog rolls in, the place takes on an almost supernatural atmosphere. But behind that impossible appearance is a slow, nearly silent process. Millions of years ago, this region was covered by a shallow sea. Over time, geological movements lifted the area, and erosion from water and wind carved the rocks into this unbelievable maze. So what looks today like something from fantasy is actually the result of nature's extraordinary patience. And maybe that's one of the most impressive things about every place on this list. They look magical, but they were built slowly. Not in days, and not even in years, but across spans of time so huge that the human mind can barely grasp them. The Shilin Stone Forest reminds us that nature is a silent sculptor. It doesn't rush, it doesn't need an audience, and it doesn't look for applause. And still, it creates monuments greater than anything any civilization could build. 5. Waitomo Glowworm Caves, a living starry sky. If there's one place on this list that could make someone fall completely silent, it might be the Waitomo Glowworm Caves in New Zealand. From the outside, the cave is already an impressive natural formation. But inside, something almost unbelievable happens. Thousands of tiny bioluminescent organisms live on the cave ceiling, giving off a blue glow in the darkness. The visual effect is completely surreal. It looks like a night sky filled with stars. Except those stars are alive. It's one of the strangest and most beautiful experiences a person can have because your brain recognizes the pattern as a sky. But you know you're inside a cave. That creates a feeling that's hard to explain, almost as if two worlds are overlapping. These tiny creatures use bioluminescence as part of their survival. Their light helps attract prey in the darkness, So that hypnotic beauty, which looks like pure poetry to us, is part of their daily fight to stay alive. And that's incredibly symbolic, because it shows how nature can create beauty even through mechanisms that are brutal and functional. What looks enchanting to us is strategy for the organism. What looks like art is also survival. Maybe that's why places like this affect us so deeply. They reveal that nature can be beautiful without even trying to be beautiful. It simply is. After seeing these 5 places, one thing becomes very clear. The world is much stranger than we imagine. And I don't mean strange in a bad way. I mean strange in the best possible sense. Strange as in something that escapes ordinary logic. Strange as in something that forces your mind out of autopilot. Strange as in something that brings back the sense of wonder that adult life often takes away from us. Because when you discover that there are giant salt mirrors, pink lakes, stone forests, caves with living stars, and hidden worlds underground, you remember that this planet is still wild, creative, and mysterious. The truth is, we know maps, borders, and names, but truly knowing the planet, that's a whole different story. And maybe that's where the greatest fascination lies. Knowing that no matter how far humanity has come, there is still enough beauty in the world to leave us speechless. And those were 5 unbelievable places that actually exist. Now tell me, which one impressed you the most? Leave a comment below, because I want to know which of these places you'd want to visit in person. And if you enjoy videos about strange facts, mysteries, and surreal places that look like they belong to another world, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Because here, you'll always find stories and facts that make reality feel even more incredible than fiction. See you in the next video.